Hello! Honestly, I'm excited to have you here right now. There's been various challenges on the way, but finally we are here. Welcome to the Life Tech Facts Frontend Starter course. I'm glad you're here. You're ready to start up your coding journey and becoming a front-end developer. If you're watching from YouTube, I decided to release a little part of the course so that you can also learn from it. And if you also want to join, the link is going to be in the description below. So, what is exactly the purpose of this particular program? As you know, this is a coding mentorship program, and not just giving you an online course, but actually leading you right, mentoring you in the right way. So, the purpose of this program is going to help you to learn how to build front end of a web application or of a website. Now, as a front end developer, you are expected to do things like currently interpret a given design to the user interface. Like might get to a point where you start working with on projects and working with UI designers and UX designers. As a front end developer, you're expected that okay, the design you're giving, you should be able to transpile that into code, and that's one of the things we are going to actually look at on this program. Another thing is you are expected to be able to build web layouts, and we're going to talk about that, whether different layouts, whether grid, etc. You're expected to be able to be a master of that. Another thing is you're expected to be able to add interactivity to a particular website. Okay, when a user does a particular thing, there should be a particular response, etc. And you are expected to understand and be able to communicate with the server. Now, what makes this program unique? Why should you consider? Why should you feel that yes, you've made a good choice? What makes this program stand out? Number one, it is very beginner friendly. I've explained every concept in such a way that even a 2 year old will probably take this program, take this course, and be fine and understand it right. So another thing is it's super affordable, and given the fact that it's just $5, which is about 2,000 naira in my currency, it is very affordable. And another thing is all the concepts have been simplified, have been broken down to the barest minimum, and you have a lifetime access to this course, so you can keep going back, coming back over and over and refreshing the things, your memory, or the things that you might have forgotten. And also, I'll be sharing with you various tips and tricks that I've gathered from my years of experience that a lot of people might not want to share. I'll be sharing that with you. And you also have mentorship access. So that's one of the things that actually make this program unique. The mentorship part, which is that I'll be there every step of the way to guide you. Do you have a problem? You run into any issues? Anything? You can always get back to me, and I would help you out to make sure that until you've mastered everything. Okay, you have a community access. We have over 26,000 people in our community worldwide, and who knows, by the time you might be watching this, we might have been up to hundreds of thousands or even up to a million. Okay, and there are lots of various things. There are a lot of various things. I can't begin to list them, or else this would take too long. Okay, so what are you going to learn inside of this course, inside of this program? The first is we're going to look at internet and the web. This is something that I said that a whole lot of web developer do not take time to learn at the right stage. Even when you check a lot of online courses, most of them do not really talk about this part, and they just dive right into writing your codes and things like that. And then afterwards, we're going to look at how websites work and render. Okay, how does a website, how does a browser display all those beautiful stuffs you have in front of you in your browser? And then we're going to look at web development, overview of web development. What is web development really about? What does a web developer do? Okay, and we'll look at the various aspects such as client side or front end web development, or server side back end web development. Okay, and then we're going to go into HTML and the web. HTML is the fundamental, the first language of front end web development. We're going to dive into that deeply before we move on and go into advanced HTML lessons. Then after that, we're going to continue our journey and we're going to go to CSS. What is CSS for? Okay, the syntax, the selectors, and things such as that. Then we're going to go to CSS layout and responsive design. We're going to look at Flexbox. We're going to look at grid. We're going to look at okay media queries, viewport, and many more. And then a very important aspect we're going to look into transforming your UI designs to code. Now, this aspect is actually really important because we're going to look at I have UI designs that are already available that we're going to take and we're going to convert that UI design right into code and exact look alike. So that way, in the future, when you're working with any UI designer, you already have a idea. You already have an experience with doing that. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to is advanced CSS lessons before we continue our journey and go to JavaScript. Now, JavaScript. This is the big elephant in the room. JavaScript is something that a whole lot of people find difficult to understand, and initially I actually wanted to make this program, this course, fully about JavaScript, but I thought that it would be better if I started right from the scratch. So we're going to go into JavaScript. Even when myself, I had issue when I first learned JavaScript with understanding it. I checked through a lot of guides, read lots of books, but they all went over my head. But right now, it came to be one of the languages I love the most and I work with almost all the time. Okay, and then we're going to move on in our journey and look at JavaScript syntax. We're looking at various concepts in JavaScript. We'll look at the control flow, and then we'll continue and go into DOM and DOM manipulation. Don't worry if you don't understand anything about what DOM is. I'm going to explain that very soon. And then we're going to continue, and then we're going to look at front end development core, and this is where we're going to actually be building projects. We're going to build, though there will be many projects in between the course, but we're going to focus more on integrating everything we've learned so far, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and mixing it up, and then we're going to move on and then we're going to look a bit into API communication. Okay, how to fetch data from an API. Remember I said a web developer is expected, you're expected to know how to communicate with a server. So we're going to learn how to do that using APIs, and then we're going to then work on projects. Now, that is one of the things about this particular program because we are going to be working on mini and major projects in between and throughout. Okay, what are you going to need for this particular course once you've registered? The first thing is you're going to need Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is my favorite code editor as of now. And then we're going to need Telegram because we're going to be uploading some materials right there. And then you're going to need Zoom. So whenever we're going to have live classes, but don't worry also if you are watching on YouTube, you can still follow along with just Visual Studio Code. So without any further ado, let's get into it.